Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gamey Daddy channel. Thank you so much for clicking the video. Thank you so much for those of you who are new, subscribing, who've been veterans. I appreciate you guys a lot. Now, today I wanted to have a small discussion on the Division 3 potentially as a title and asking the question, who is going to purchase a Division 3? Well, for those of you who don't know, I will probably tell you that I'll probably be number one purchaser of the Division 3 if the game ever was a thing or if it ever did come out, because I'm a big Division fan. Now, I will also have to tell you that as a caveat, I generally do not recommend buying any game. In fact, if you really want to go back and look through my videos, you're going to find a video from February of 2019 where I actually wrote that, you know, the Division 2 is a game that not many people are going to like, number one. Number two, a game that I would enjoy. Number three, a game that I would enjoy regardless of the issues and the bugs, and a lot of other people also enjoy. And number four, telling people to actually not buy the game. I did. I think I probably was one of the few content creators who said don't buy the Division 2, and that's insane, right? Because I'm one of the biggest Division fans out there, because I understand that gamers can get really vitriolic if they're dissatisfied. So I usually say that on record so that if somebody were to come and tell me all kinds of random weird stuff like you're a shill, I may be able to use some of that evidence to, you know, in a very nice and, you know, polite way, smack them in the face with it. It's all in jest. And, you know, I've also learned from some experience that even when you know, have the best expectations for some games, they will most likely fall short. Look at Cyberpunk 2077. I had very high hopes for the game, and it fell short. Look at a game like Marvel Avengers. I had high hopes for the game as well, and it also fell short in some aspect. Even though, yes, I was, you know, able to say, well, if you want to buy the game, it's your money, spend it how you wish, but I never necessarily recommended those games and will not recommend the Division 3. That's crazy, right? But why am I even asking the question as to who is going to play a Division 3? Well, here's what it is. The Division game has a very huge and very dedicated fan base. There are people who are dissatisfied one way or the other, but to be very honest, it doesn't really deter nor does it change the minds of those who are really into the game. Others outside may blame and say, well, it's because of gamers like us who are in quote dedicated that, you know, these companies constantly make these games or whatever it is, but I don't know any other game that doesn't have its own issues. I could say the exact same thing for Destiny in some cases, but, you know I'm probably going to get, you know, oh, don't touch Destiny. Destiny is this and Destiny is that. But to be very fair, Destiny is a good game. It does have its issues, and so does the Division as well. The Division is unique. It stands in its own little, you know, genre, like bubble in a sense, and it has its issues, but nonetheless, it does not take away the uniqueness of the game for me personally. And so where I see the opportunity for the Division 3 is in the dedicated player base, people who have been able to kind of stick through a lot of the changes and now do enjoy the game. In fact, if you're watching footage that's on the screen right now, this is footage from almost immediately after Warlords of New York came out. It was such a different game then, and I like using the old footage because I see comments of people saying, oh, you guys could have just done this easily, man. And I'm like, yeah, now you can, but back then when the game came out, it was so challenging and difficult, and things were not streamlined nor scaled for the player to be very powerful. Now we steamroll through content like it's you know, just a piece of cake, and that's exactly what the Division usually does. It gets to the point where player power, enemy NPC power is usually cycling through the game cycle, and at risk of losing a lot of players. I know many friends who left once their gear or their Eagle Bearer was nerfed and things were changed. It was an unfair categorization according to them, which I believe is the case. I fought tooth and nail, making video upon video that this, you know, weapon not be nerfed, that the weapon actually, in my case, I even wanted to even be a weapon that's in the general loot pool, but, you know, for some reason that hasn't happened yet. But then you also have to think about the new player base. Now, some people have said things like, I pity people who are still playing the Division 2 and whatever. You're just in a little, I would say you're the minority. In fact, there are many people that are jumping into the Division game, and the reason we're seeing them is because they're actually commenting and asking questions on YouTube forums. Now, why would they be jumping into the Division 2 game right now? What is the catch? What is the draw? It's very simple. The Division 2 right now is on a huge sale on the Epic Games Store. In fact, right now, you can get the whole Warlords of New York edition for as little as $7.99. That's everything in the game through level 40 for such a small fee. Now, why would Ubisoft be discounting the game over and over again? If you guys remember, they've been discounting this game for, multiple seasons. They did a $3, entry fee for people who wanted to play the game and come into Warlords of New York. They did all this stuff. And I think this is to continue to build a fan base to constantly populate the Division ecosystem. And I think this is the audience that the Division 3 will most likely to, be marketed to if and only if they like the Division 2 in its current state. And guess what? Anybody who's playing the Division 2 right now for the first time understands and knows that the game is actually in a very good place, especially for new players. Now, for the old players, we've been through the motions. We've kind of gone through a lot of the thick and the thin, and so it may not be necessarily that appealing to us. And so that's pretty much, where our own proposition lies. So this means that even for the old player base, many of us are not going to buy the Division 3, and that's perfectly fine, and that's perfectly okay. I think if the Division 3, or if it's a real thing, takes a hit from the player base that refused to buy, though those who say I'm going to wait for a sale, then that is on the development team and the studio to be able to say, you know what, we're going to do a Division 3 so good that we're going to try to change minds, and that is left to them. The Division is such a complicated game, and the complexity of the game and the complexity of management and bureaucracy and the fact that it's under a studio whom we know is a studio that, kind of in a sense will take one step forward and 4 steps back in the way that they do things. These things all continue to weigh in and bog down the potential that this game could have in its own right. And so when you think about the challenges, when you think about what it takes to bring a game to the market, when you think about games that have been hyped, that have failed, even though they were being hyped, that's going to be some of the best things since, peanut butter, it goes to show and it stands, to basically be manifest that, for you to be able to get a good game, you really do have to, hold all your expectations to as low as it possibly, can be. Because if you think about it, this game has suffered a lot of issues. It suffered a bunch, but at the same time, one of the things that you have to credit the game for is that the game continues to stand on its feet. Now, I know I'm probably going to see the comment that says, oh, the Division only has 500 Twitch viewers and 10,000 viewers for Destiny. Viewers don't ever manifest or show the player base of a game. Yes, it can in a sense be used to determine the popularity of a game. But if we had 10,000 people sitting there and actually watching the Division streams, it'll mean it was maybe a few thousand less people actually playing the game. And you also have to account for different ecosystems with the Division. On console, the game does not run as good as it should. If you look at the case of the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 4 machine is an ancient machine. I tried to make this case a while ago, but I got called, a hype man. And I've said it before, but Cyberpunk basically has proved this. And that ecosystem is not generally enjoying the best possible aspect of the Division game. But then if you look at, say, maybe PC players are constantly playing this game. I log into my Uplay every time, and there are at least a dozen people jamming out to this game on my friends list. And that's just my friends list. Some of them are, people that are in clans, that have friends. And if you think about the proxies that they're playing with, the ecosystem on PC is constantly humming. And I wish that many could play the game with the quality and with the performance, which is going to be coming soon, next year, 2021. The developers have said they're going to unlock the frame rates, and on PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, you're going to be able to experience this game in a different light. Trust me, performance and the way a game looks will make you replay those missions over and over again. I know many people are going to say, there's no way. Calm down. Wait till we get there, and then you make that determination, because I can almost put my money on it. It's really going to change the game for you. And I think this is where that selling point also comes into play. If they can unlock the frame rates, if they can bring, that performance to the game, it definitely is going to help with the sales and even bring in more people who are going to be buying the game. And then finally, I think the opportunity, and if they miss this, it's on them, is a third-year content piece. Now, we've talked about this year 3. Well, I think generally you're not getting a Division 3 game until 2022. But what is the community going to be doing all the way through then? If you really want to keep your community engaged, yes, a season model and really interesting global events can work. It did work for the Division 1. Honestly, I'm not going to, downplay it, but I felt like, yes, it worked, but it only worked to bring in about 50 to 60% of the sales that the Division 1 was able to accomplish. What is the magic formula, or what is the approach that's going to actually bring in much more of a player base? I think that is a third-year content. If they're ever going to try to match at least 70 to 80% of the sales of a Division 1, then a third-year content piece is very important for them to be able to bring to the table. And that is bringing in something that the community has been asking for. There are different content pieces they can tap from to inspire nostalgia, to be able to kind of like appeal to specific communities in the game. And I think these are basically going to be the package that really delivers who will, or will determine, if I would say, who will be getting a Division 3 or not. But these are my thoughts and my opinions. And again, to end this video, do not buy a Division 3. Don't say I didn't tell you. I don't want to see you complaining saying, oh, the Division 3 sucks. I don't like the DSA. Just don't buy it, and you will be very excited and happy with your decision. Thank you so much for listening to the video. Appreciate you guys so much. Peace out.